You're going to change the rear end fluid on 6.7 powerstroke Ford today. Okay, we're back here with the rear end. We need to take this cover off right here. These are 14mm bolts. We'll take every one of them out and then we'll pop the cover off, catch all the fluid. Okay, you get them all out and then you leave the top one. You back it off a little bit to hold the cover. Now the fun part's trying to get the cover loose and not make a mess. You're going to have to get a pry bar or a flat blade. And you got to break this seal all the way around. Okay, I got my scraper in right here. And you start prying up. The old gasket maker is going to hold it pretty good. If it's disagreeing. There we go. Bam. Oh, almost got it broke free. Now we're in there. Got it in there now. Oh, there we go. Now we can let it all drain out. When it's all drained, we'll take the top bolt out up there and then we'll pull the cover off of it. After you take the top bolt off, the cover will come right off in your hands. That's what we got on the inside. We got to clean off all this old gasket maker. Get rid of all that so we have a clean surface. I'm just going to use a little putty knife. Get it all cleaned up. And go all the way around and get everything off of it. While you're scraping off all your gasket maker, cover it. You don't want to get any of that trash up inside the rear end. Okay, here's our rear end cover. You got to get all of this gasket maker off. This lump here's got to come off. You can use your flat scraper. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use an air wire wheel, speed things up. Okay, now we got all of that old gasket maker off, but we have a hell of a mess in there. Take some brake parts cleaner. Start spraying it out. We'll take some rags and wipe it out. After we spray some more, make sure we get all the trash out of it. Now you get it all clean, look it over real well, make sure you didn't miss anything along where you're going to put the new gasket maker. This here's a magnet. It's got metal shavings on it. You got to wipe it off real good. Magnet's also your fill plug. It's a 1/2 inch drive. Use a 1/2 inch ratchet to get it out. And you can see all the metal build up on it. There we go. Kind of nasty. We'll get it wiped off. Now we got our rear end all cleaned off. We got our magnet all cleaned off. Let's go start putting things back together. Before you put your cover back on, look through things real well. Make sure you don't see anything broke or real bad wore out. Nothing missing or chipped. There's all kinds of gasket makers. This is the stuff I like to use. It's the blue. It's never given me any issues. I've never had any problems with leaks using it. You got a little line there on your rear end cover. Come in, we'll start putting it on, and don't be afraid to put it on. You can't be too much, it will squish out. Okay, we put a nice bead all the way around it, about the diameter of a pencil. Almost used a whole tube to do it. Got it covered the bolt holes so we don't have any leaks there. For you to not have any issues, you got to make sure it's clean at the bottom. Sometimes oil will drip out a little bit. Just wipe it all off, make sure none's still draining before you go back on with the cover. Get your cover, do one more check for trash. Make sure that you didn't leave a rag or something inside the rear end. There's no trash in there. Then we'll put the cover back on. Come in from the top. Try it. You don't want to hit anything and screw up your silicone, because then you get to start over and cuss yourself. Okay, you get it held up here. Then you're going to pick one bolt hole, and we're going to jab the bolt through it, and then press it and make sure you don't move it. If it wiggles around a lot, you're going to ruin your silicone. Okay, you get 2 bolts in to hold it. Just hand tighten them. You don't need to crank them down or nothing, and then you'll start running in all your other bolts until you get everything in there just hand tight. Now that I've got them in there all hand tight, we'll start snugging them up. You just want to bring them up, and then you don't go in a circle, go across until you worked them all. Bottom to the top, back to the bottom, to the side. But don't tighten them down real tight yet. Just snug them up, push the pan up against it. Go all the way around in a cross pattern. We'll see from there back down to here. As you're snugging up, some's gonna squish out. That's okay. That happens. It's just because we put so much on there. Now I have them all snugged up against it. We're gonna go around and tighten them. There are torque specs to this. I'm just gonna tighten them down. Don't tighten them too tight, you'll break them. If you wanna look at the specs and have a torque wrench, you can jump on it. Don't go in a circle when you're tightening them. Do your same zigzag across pattern. Get them all tightened, and then you have to wait. Sometime I'll have to look at it. The package says wait 24 hours. I'm going to give it 15-20 minutes and that'll be good, and we're going to refill it with fluid. The rear end takes gear lube. You'll have to check with your manufacturer to know what weight and how many. All the little bottles look the same. The best thing is just to take one lid and we're going to cut it off, and then we'll use the same lid for all the other bottles. Cut the top off, make a hole about that big so the oil flows through it nice and easy. It's been 20 minutes. The gasket maker's hard on the outside, not on the inside. Probably wait an hour before we put fluid back in it. It's really best to wait the 24 hours, but not everybody has that kind of time. Okay, after you've let your silicone set up, and you wait your hour or so, that hole where we took the fill plug out of, that's where we got to fill the oil back in it. Okay, that's where we cut our lid off. Jam it in the hole and just start squeezing. After you get your first one in, just use your same lid for your next bottle. There's no point in cutting the lid off the next one. Just swap them over and go on. This fill hole is also your check hole. When it's full, the oil will be right at the edge of the hole. You'll be able to stick your finger in there and find it. Once you get it full, put your drain plug back in and then wait a few hours before you drive it, unless you waited the 24 hours before you filled it. The drain plug never really tightens down, so don't tighten it all the way through the rear end and back to the inside, because then you're going to have problems. Run it down, almost flush. That'll be good. Now after you drive it, park it somewhere where there's no oil to make sure you don't have any leaks. If you have a leak, you get to start over and do it all over again.